Hey everybody, welcome to Exploring Harmony number 1. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at one of my favorite chord progressions. It's a 4-2-5-1 sharp 6 progression in the key of D minor. So let's take a look at our first chord, G minor 9. Here it is all spread out, and you can also play a compressed version of it, like this, in root position. 1 and 3 in the left hand, and 5, 7, 9 in the right. And this right hand voicing is just a D minor triad, D, F, and A. But I like the spread out voicing, root, 5th, 9th, 2 perfect fifths stacked on top of each other in the left, and then a B flat, major 7 in your right hand. And then our second chord is E minor 11. Here it is in root position, root and 3rd in the left, and then 5, 7, 9, 11 in the right hand. That's a B minor 7th chord in the right. And then you can spread out that left hand, root 5th, 10th in the left, and expand the right hand a little bit by grabbing the 11th on the bottom with your thumb, by angling your thumb a little bit to the left. And then our third chord is A7, flat 9, flat 13. So we have a shell voicing in the left hand, root and 7th, and then flat 9, major 3rd, flat 13, and root up top. Now for these first 3 chords, we have A as the top note the entire time. But we're going to lower that note to G for our 1 chord. Now for the 1 chord, we're using the exact same voicing that we did for our 2 chord. Root, 5th, 10th, 11, 5, 7, 9, 11. Our last chord is a transition chord back to the 4, a B minor 11, the sharp 6. Shell voicing in the left hand, root and 7th, and then a little cluster in the middle here, 9, flat 3, 11, and 7 in the right. Back to A, up top. So I like to play this with kind of a slow, funky hip-hop feel. And when I'm playing around with it, I like to try and vary how I strike each chord. So you can roll some of them up, roll them down, build them up from the outside in, or top down, bottom up. Any of those varieties and more to just create a sense of variation and freshness for the progression when you're repeating it a bunch of times. So one of my favorite things about this progression is that even though it's in the key of D minor, it uses some chords that borrow from D major. So, for example, the 4 chord is definitely a D minor chord. It uses B flat, which is definitely in D minor. But the next chord, E minor 11, uses a B natural, which is not in your standard D minor scale. So we're borrowing that from the key of D major, which does have a B natural. Normally, in a minor 2-5-1, you would have a flat 5 for the 2 chord, like this. But I want a bit of a brighter sound, so I'm going to raise that 5th up to the perfect 5th. And add that 11th at the bottom as well as the top for a nice little cluster in the middle, a rich sound, and then now I'm lowering the B natural to B flat for the flat 9 in my 5 chord, A7, flat 9, flat 13. And then that note lowers again to A, the 5th, for my 1 chord. So the A chord, the 5 chord, sort of straddles between major and minor. It does have the B flat, which is the flat 9, but it also has a C sharp, which is the major 7th in D major, the leading tone. So we have a chord that's definitely in D minor, a chord that's borrowed from D major, one that's sort of in between, and then definitely D minor, because it is D minor, and then the last chord is again from D major. We're on that B natural, we have C sharp, so this is definitely D major. We could say it's from D melodic minor, which does have a B natural and a C sharp, but either way, we're borrowing from a different scale than your standard D minor. So I like this progression because it sort of shifts between the major and minor modes. So that's one of my favorite progressions. In the next lesson, we'll talk about what scales you can use to improvise over those chords. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.